Martha, an unyielding spirit finds joy. Martha, a resilient soul, was just 30 when an unimaginable horror struck her. A stranger, fueled by malice, threw acid on her face, stealing her right eye and badly scarring the skin on the entire right side of her face. The pain must have been excruciating, the fear overwhelming. Yet, a kind woman, a true angel, found her just in time, rushing her to the vet for emergency care. Her face was terribly disfigured, a sight that made many turn away in fear, a stark reminder of the cruelty she endured. But Martha, despite her physical scars, possessed an indomitable spirit. That kind woman, who is now me, took Martha into her home, nurturing her back to a miraculous recovery. She may never be fully healed, with the visible aftermath of the attack etched onto her features, but her spirit, her joy, and her capacity for love are stronger than ever. Even with her visible scars, Martha's happiness shines brighter than any pain she endured. Every morning, the first rays of sunlight filtering through the window signal a new day of simple joys for her. I wake to the soft nudge of her head against my hand, her tail thumping a gentle rhythm against the floor. She might not have eyes to see, but her one remaining eye, bright and full of life, is always fixed on me, brimming with affection. It's a silent, profound greeting that fills my heart. Our mornings often begin with a quiet moment in the garden. Martha, with her unique gait, sniffs out every interesting scent, her one ear twitching, processing the world around her with heightened senses. She might not see the full spectrum of colors, but she feels the warmth of the sun on her fur, the cool dampness of the grass under her paws. There's a particular patch of sun-drenched lawn where she loves to roll around, wiggling with pure delight, her scarred side absorbing the warmth. Watching her, you wouldn't guess the past horrors. You only see pure, unadulterated canine joy. The afternoons are often reserved for playtime, especially with my other dog, a lively, playful companion who has completely accepted Martha for who she is. They chase each other around the house, Martha navigating with surprising agility, her other senses compensating for her missing eye. There's a special ball, soft and squeaky, that my other dog loves to bat around, encouraging Martha to join in. Martha, in turn, will often lie patiently as the other dog nudges and licks her scarred face, a gesture of comfort and acceptance that speaks volumes. It's beautiful to witness their bond, a testament to the fact that love sees no flaws. Mealtimes are another source of quiet contentment. Martha approaches her bowl with an eagerness that always makes me smile. She eats with gusto, savoring every bite, a stark contrast to the days she lay starving and injured. After eating, she often seeks out her favorite spot on the sofa, nestled beside me or curled up close to the other dog. She lets out a contented sigh, a soft rumble in her chest, settling into deep, peaceful sleep, dreaming, I hope, of endless belly rubs and sun-drenched fields. In the evenings, when the house is quiet, Martha often comes and rests her head on my lap. I gently stroke her fur, running my fingers over the healed, though still uneven, skin on her face. There's an unspoken language between us, a profound sense of gratitude and love that transcends words. Her presence is a constant reminder of resilience, of the incredible capacity for forgiveness, and the power of a second chance. Despite the horrific ordeal she endured at 30, Martha, now thriving, embodies happiness. Her life, imperfect yet overflowing with love, is a daily miracle. She's not just a dog, she's a beacon of hope, reminding us that even in the darkest moments, joy can find its way home. Her happiness isn't just her own. It radiates, touching everyone lucky enough to know her, including me and her furry friend.
The rain fell, each cold drop streaking across the window panes of the animal clinic, blurring the city lights into a hazy glow. Inside a small, silent room, a tiny creature lay motionless. It was a kitten, a white fluff of fur, but what silenced everyone in the room was its face. The right side was perfectly normal, with a clear, beautiful eye and a tiny nose. but the left side was a stark, disturbing void. No eye, no nostril, just a congenital malformation. The owner, a middle-aged man, stood impassively before the vet. "I want to have it euthanized," he stated, his voice flat and devoid of emotion, as if discussing an old piece of furniture. "The surgery is too expensive, and besides, it's not perfect." The old vet, a man with decades of experience, had witnessed many heartbreaking scenes, but this request still sent a jolt of pain through him. He looked from the kitten to the man, searching for a flicker of compassion, a hint of hesitation. There was nothing. Cold calculation had won. The vet explained the costs again, the potential for recovery, and the possibility of a full life, but the numbers and the hopes seemed to only cement the man's cruel decision. The cost of care became the final straw that broke the camel's back of his so-called love. In that moment of absolute despair, a figure appeared. It was me. I had just brought a stray dog in for treatment and had overheard the entire conversation. My eyes met the kitten's, and in that first look, I saw pure terror and resignation. The sight ignited a powerful impulse within me. I couldn't allow a living being to be condemned to death simply for its appearance. "Wait," I said, my voice cutting through the silence. "Don't euthanize it. I'll take it." My words were like a thunderclap in the quiet room. The owner looked at me, surprised at first. Then his expression returned to cold indifference. He simply nodded, "Suit yourself," and walked away without another word, never once looking back at the creature he was so eager to abandon. From that second on, the kitten's fate was forever changed. It was no longer an unwanted object. It was Zarah. Life for Zarah began anew, but the journey to fully escape the shadow of the past was long. I brought Zarah home, a small, cozy house that felt like a sanctuary compared to the cold indifference he had known. But Zarah was still terrified. He huddled in a corner, too afraid to come near me. The memories of pain and abandonment were etched deep in his young mind. I understood. I didn't rush him. I patiently sat on the floor, speaking to him in a soft, gentle voice. I placed a bowl of fresh food and water nearby, then retreated, giving him the space he needed to feel safe, to learn to trust. And then, after a few days, something incredible happened. One morning, Zarah slowly crept out of his corner, timidly approaching me. He rubbed against my leg, and then, with a hesitant sigh, he nestled into my lap and began to purr. That sound wasn't a cry of pain, but a deep hum of comfort and gratitude. I held Zarah close, gently stroking his fur. I could feel the life force returning, a tiny spark igniting into a steady flame. The physical healing journey also began. I brought Zarah to the vet, where the doctors and nurses were ready to operate. They couldn't restore his face to perfection, but they could alleviate the pain and discomfort caused by his congenital defect. The injections, the medications, the minor surgeries, all were performed with the highest level of dedication and care. Throughout the entire process, Zarah showed a remarkable will to live. He never cried or showed fear. He faced the needles, the scalpels, and the post-op pain with a courage that was truly astonishing. His bravery moved the entire medical team, strengthening their resolve to save him. With time, Zarah's health improved. His once matted coat grew back, now soft, clean, and beautiful. The single eye that remained was no longer filled with fear or emptiness, but with intelligence and a sparkling trust in life. His personality transformed completely. From a timid kitten, he became incredibly friendly, gentle, and affectionate. Zarah loved to be held. Whenever I sat down, he would leap onto my lap, nuzzle his head into my chest, and curl up. He was also friendly with everyone who came to our house. When guests arrived, Zarah would run to greet them, winding round their legs, and sometimes even jumping into their arms to be petted. Zarah's unique appearance was no longer a flaw. It had become his signature. He was a living testament to the power of love and acceptance, a reminder that true beauty lies in resilience and a kind heart. The story of Zarah quickly spread online. Millions of people watched videos of his rescue and his incredible recovery. The comments were filled with admiration and love. Many shared that Zarah had inspired them, teaching them that perfection is not a prerequisite for a full and meaningful life. Zarah's story is not just a tale of survival, it's a testament to compassion, to kindness, and to how a single act of courage can change a life forever. From a discarded, abandoned creature, Zarah became a beacon of hope and love, and I, the person who chose to reach out and save him, received an invaluable gift in return: the unconditional love and unwavering companionship of a very special friend. Every morning, I am greeted by his joyful meows and warm nuzzles. Every evening, I have a furry friend curled up on my lap. My life and his have become whole. Ultimately, Zarah taught me that perfection is an illusion. Life can be unfair, and unexpected hardships will happen. But what truly matters is how we face them. Zarah never gave up. He fought, he trusted, and he was rewarded. A being with a physical flaw can teach us more than we ever imagined. They teach us patience, empathy, and unconditional love. Zarah, the cat with half a face, became a symbol of compassion, a beacon of light for anyone lost in indifference. His journey ended in happiness, but his story will continue to inspire. It will live on in my heart and in the hearts of the millions of people who have been touched by his resilience and courage. And that is the true meaning of a life well lived.
A viral sensation and the horrific truth behind the laughter of the internet is a strange, paradoxical place. One moment, it's a sea of noise and distraction. The next, it shines a searing light on a story that rips right through you, forcing you to see beyond the pixels and into a world of raw, unfiltered pain. Not long ago, the entire web was captivated by a peculiar, heartbreaking spectacle. A dog that had become a viral sensation. Everyone calling it the bee dog. The videos were everywhere, shared across every social media platform, showing a scrawny, emaciated body topped by a comically, absurdly swollen head. The visual was so jarring, so seemingly ridiculous, that people couldn't help but laugh. They found a grotesque humor in the stark, absurd contrast, giving the dog nicknames like Wagbee and Bee Dog because of its grotesquely bloated features. But I, like a few others in the rescue community who have seen too much, couldn't bring myself to laugh. There was something in its eyes, a profound, soul-crushing sadness, and a deep-seated pain hidden beneath the comical puffiness, suggested a far more sinister truth. While the world saw a viral meme, a fleeting moment of entertainment, I saw a living creature silently enduring unimaginable agony. The laughter of the crowd felt like a mocking echo, a cruel soundtrack to a silent tragedy. The initial theories from the armchair experts and well-meaning observers online were simple enough. A bee sting, a snake bite, maybe a severe allergic reaction to something it ate, innocent guesses, the kind we all make when we want to believe that the world isn't so full of deliberate cruelty. People hoped that a little time and some rest would make it all better. But the details felt wrong. To me, the shape of the swelling, the sheer solid mass of its head felt different from a typical venomous bite. It wasn't just a simple, localized puffiness. It was a total, suffocating engulfment. It was a suspicion that gnawed at my conscience. A gut feeling that there was something far more malicious at play, something that transcended a mere accident of nature. The problem was, this all happened in a small, remote village in Wangang, Hubei, hundreds of miles away from any major city, a place beyond the reach of most. The original video was shared without a specific location, and the person who filmed it couldn't be reached. For a while, the bee dog remained just that, a viral image of a suffering animal that no one could reach. A silent, desperate cry for help lost in the noise of the internet. But then a glimmer of hope pierced through the digital fog. A determined volunteer from Wuhan, driven by the same unsettling suspicion that I felt, decided to act. He didn't just talk about it or share the video. He packed his car and embarked on a monumental journey, driving over 300 kilometers from the bustling, high-tech heart of Wuhan to the remote, forgotten countryside of Huanggang. The drive was long and grueling, a solitary vigil against the vastness of the Chinese landscape. He drove for hours, the scenery shifting from towering skyscrapers to endless fields. His determination fueled by a single, terrifying thought: that the dog's suffering was a direct result of human cruelty, and that he might be the only one who could prove it. His mission was simple, yet monumental: to find this dog, to uncover the truth behind its swollen head, and to get it the immediate life-saving help it so desperately needed. He spent days searching. A quiet, methodical detective, following the thinnest of clues. He scoured every single one of the 8 villages near the reported location, talking to locals, showing them the pictures and videos on his phone. It was a search filled with dead ends, confused stares, and moments of utter despair. He started to lose hope, the vastness of the countryside swallowing his efforts. He began to wonder if he had been chasing a ghost, a mirage created by the internet. But in a small, forgotten corner of one of the villages, tucked away behind a row of dilapidated houses and a mound of discarded trash, he finally found it. The viral star, the bee dog, was curled up in a secluded spot, a victim of its own notoriety, just as lost and alone as the videos had suggested. The sight of it in person was a stark, brutal blow to the heart. The laughter-inducing puffiness was not funny. It was terrifyingly real, a grotesque, physical manifestation of its silent, enduring suffering. It lay there, exhausted and defeated, a silent victim of a world that had laughed at its pain. The volunteer approached cautiously, his own heart pounding with a mixture of dread and resolve. As he got closer, his worst fears were confirmed. The swelling was not from a venomous bite or an allergic reaction. It was caused by a tightly singed collar, a simple, cruel piece of rope or leather that was slowly, mercilessly suffocating. The collar had been tied too tight when the dog was a puppy, and as the dog grew, the collar had become a deadly noose, cutting off circulation and causing the massive, painful swelling that had captured the internet's attention. The flesh beneath the rope was rotten, black, and putrid, oozing with a foul-smelling fluid. This wasn't an accident. The bee dog was a victim of prolonged, deliberate torment. The volunteer's heart broke completely as he took in the full extent of the horror. The meat around its neck was rotting, a festering wound that reeked of decay, a smell that would haunt him long after he had rescued it. He could only imagine the unimaginable, constant pain the dog had been in for weeks, perhaps even months. The owner, a ghost of a person, a character of pure malevolence in this tragic tale, provided the final, heartbreaking detail. The volunteer learned from local residents that this beautiful dog had an owner, a person who had tied the collar in the first place. But not long ago, that owner had grown tired of the putrid smell emanating from the rotting wound on its neck. So they did what any truly heartless person would do. They kicked it out of the house. The dog became a true stray, abandoned not for being lost, but for the very suffering its owner had inflicted. The thought was sickening, a moment of profound anger and despair that transcended all logic. How could someone so easily discard a life they had already so cruelly tormented? The dog was an innocent creature, a victim of an owner's neglect who was then punished for the very consequences of that neglect. Despite its pain and terror, the dog was incredibly gentle. It was as if it knew the people who had finally found it were there to help. Never growled, never tried to snap or bite, even when the volunteer, with a heavy heart, began to gently clean and treat its horrific wounds with antiseptic wipes he had in his car. It lay there patiently, a picture of profound trust, quietly enduring the stinging pain, its eyes fixed on its rescuer. It was a truly remarkable animal, a testament to a spirit that refused to break even in the face of such betrayal. Its quiet strength was a challenge, a promise that it would not be defeated. The volunteer, having confirmed the horror, knew that the dog's fight was far from over. This was only the beginning of a long, arduous journey. His first priority was to get this suffering animal to the clinic, a desperate race against the finality of death.